Have you ever thought about how a white person that you assume is racist feel about the fact that you're putting them in that box? Welcome to Tête-à-tête, a space for truth, healing, and hope. And I'm your host, Smith Paul. Let's have a conversation about this video right here.
So sometimes it might be all Astros, all Rockets, all Texans, all Alpha. So I'm walking. White dude says, "You a fan or did you play?" I knew exactly what he was talking about. I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Oh," he said, "what you have on? Are you a fan or did you play?" And mind y'all, I got on Aggie shorts, maroon shoes, okay? Because I keep it simple when I pack. All I said was, "No, I'm a graduate." And I walked off. That's the shit black people have to deal with when we go to PWIs.
When I watched this video, I know it's a little bit old, and so most of you have seen it. I started thinking, what if the person at the airport who asked him the question was black? I'm sure that would have been a different answer. He would have felt differently, right? Automatically, he wouldn't think that it's racist. Automatically, he wouldn't think that this is what black people in America have to deal with. Now, not to mention that he's generalizing everything, thinking that I'm dealing with that, this black person is dealing with that, this black person is dealing with that. So he's generalizing everything. So now, the thing about those type of videos, the thing about those types of mindset, is the fact that for some people, it might be just as simple as just the way that he thinks that, you know, the white person asked him about just a very innocent question, but he took it that this is what black people have to deal with, referring to racism, referring to prejudice, referring to just the unfairness of black people. We're talking about, he's probably a millionaire. He's doing pretty well for himself, but he's using that mentality of victimhood. Now, don't get me wrong. So my goal in this channel is to make sure that as we're going through life, racism is always gonna be there. Some people, you just cannot change their minds. They are who they are. But I am willing to bet that most people are not racist. And it's such a big, bold claim when you think that, you know, just because somebody is white and they say something that's not favorable to you, automatically, so that's what that's the label they're gonna get. Now let's reverse it just a little bit, right? So as a black person, when a white person sees you, do you feel comfortable that they're thinking about stereotypes associated with hood mentality, gangster, ghetto, uneducated, criminal? They can think that. Are you comfortable with them thinking that? So if you reverse that, a white person who is not racist, which I believe most people are not racist, I choose to live my life that way. But that's a different story. That's a different side that we can dig into. But most white people are not racist. To live your life thinking and assuming the moment they say something that you don't agree with, it's racism, that is, one, a pathetic way to live. Second, it's so unhealthy to live with that kind of mindset. It's just eating you alive, but you don't even realize it. Again, I like to make that parallel. It's just, if you guys have probably heard it, it's just whenever you've heard the saying that drinking your enemy's poison, but hoping to one day kill them. And it's a sad way to live. It's a very sad way to live, because the fact is, you live in your life having so much bitterness, hatred in your life, in your heart for a certain demographic, when in fact that demographic, usually they don't even think about that. They don't even care about the way that you're thinking. They just don't care. But for you carrying this baggage. So you're at the airport and somebody sees you, you're wearing, you know, clothing that is associated with a certain team. What is the wrong in somebody asking you, did you go there? Is it like, are you an alumni? Like, what is the wrong in that? Let me give you an example. Not that long ago, matter of fact, I think it was last week. I have 4 kids. So I was walking with my kids. And so I usually walk with my kids. So when I go on walk, so we recently had twins. So I would we have a twin carriage type of backpack. So I would strap that on. So I put it on. I have both kids in there, both babies. I just walk around. I get my exercise. And sometimes it's just me and the other 2 kids, the older ones. So about a week and a half ago, I was walking by myself. So I wanted to just go for a walk by myself. And the neighbor, who is white, along with 2 other white neighbors, they saw me. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you don't have your kids with you. You rarely walk around without your kids. You always carrying your kids. Like, I mean, when I see you sometimes, you look like it's like a possum carrying the babies and stuff." So I said, "Yeah, I know. Hey, listen, I have 4 kids, so I gotta, I don't have any time for myself. So I gotta, spend time with them." And I truly believe in that. And I'm going to spend time with my kids no matter what. So at this moment, I started thinking, like, do possum walk around with the kids, like with the babies like that? I've never seen a possum with a whole bunch of babies like the way that she's describing. I don't know. But you know what I didn't do, though? I didn't assume that she was racist. And that was like a racist term that she was using against me. Now, hey, if you guys know that is a racist term, just put your comment in the comments section and then let's talk about it. But for me, I continued on walking. I had a great time just walking around, just getting my exercise, just getting some fresh air. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about her being racist because she's never said or done anything racist towards me. She's always been nice to me. But the fact that she used that when she sees me, she uses that term like it's like a possum carrying their babies and stuff like that, which I don't even know. I've never seen possum carrying their little baby possums. So I don't know. But what she was referring to is just the fact that I always either have 2 kids with me or I have 2 kids with me with the babies strapped to me. So she was making a reference to that. But we live in a culture where people are so sensitive, 1. And 2, people are so quick to jump to making racist references, even when it's not warranted. And I'm here to tell you that it's not a way to live. It's just not a way to live. It's just not a way to live because I'm telling you, it's going to eat you inside. You're going to be consumed by it. You're going to be like Roland Martin. I don't know him personally. I've never met him and I'm not, I don't care either way. And I'm not attacking his character. So I'm making a parallel with the way he thinks because I know a lot of Black people, a lot of people of minority tend to think that way. I've been victim of racism too many times to count. I've been spat on. I've been called the N-word with a hard ER. Well, you don't see me going around just assuming everybody's racist and everybody's out to get me as long as they're white. It's just not a good way to live. So for me on this channel, I'm always going to point those things out just because I think if we change that mindset, if we pivot a little bit, it doesn't mean that we're always going to tolerate racism. It doesn't mean that when we see it, we turn our eyes or we just kind of pretend that it's not there or we just kind of just accept it. We have to always spot the light on racism and make sure that we know what we're looking at and we treat it accordingly. But don't go out looking for it. Don't pretend something is something that is not. Have you ever thought about how a white person that you assume is racist feel about the fact that you're putting them in that box? It's not a nice thing, whichever way. Whether somebody's being racist towards you or somebody is a racist. I guess a racist person, it's too bad, so sad that they don't realize how ridiculous and how stupid it is to see a person as less than, as inferior than you. It's absolutely a mindset that is so warped, that is so damaged. I cannot relate to it. I've never been racist, nor will I ever be racist. But for somebody who's not racist, it's always, you have to think about what they're thinking, how they feel about the fact that you are assuming that they're racist just because, they cut you in traffic, just because you said hi to them, they didn't say hi to you back, or, you don't know what people are going through. I always think for you to think that somebody's racist, it takes so much more than that. It takes so much more than that. Because first of all, unless it's blatant racism, somebody just like in my case, the kid was white and he spits on me. That was after he called me the N-word with a hard ER. That's a story for a different time. I can assume that is racism. Even then, there is a case to be made that, it could not be. Now you have to look at the context. But I'm just, I'm not going to down that hill. If you spit on me, that's, that is racism. And you call me the ER and you're white, I'm going to assume that. But for somebody who just looks at you differently, you didn't get the loan, you didn't get the car you wanted, you didn't have enough money to get something and they told you no. Like, you name it. There's so many examples that people associate with racism simply because it's a different race. It's black and white. We have to be better than that. And I always preach that. I know we can be better. I know we have to be better because that's the only way racism's never going to go away. But we can keep our foot on racism's neck, so to speak, if we keep looking at things that for what they are and not really jump to a conclusion, not assuming something is something that it isn't. So, Roland Martin, if you ever watch this video, I don't know you, I'm not attacking your character. All I'm saying is this is very innocent. You cannot tell somebody's racism just off of what you just experienced, just by asking you those simple, innocent questions. And I think you're doing a really bad thing to the black community, because that's the kind of message that you're putting out there. Kids are growing up to watch different people. You're not the only one. There are other people who actually kind of spew that kind of rhetoric. This is not racism. That's not how you detect racism. People have all sorts of crazy stuff going on, all sorts of feelings. You never know what somebody's going through. So by somebody just like kind of assuming that, they didn't do something, or they asked you a question that's so innocent, but you took it a different way, that's not the way to go. So anyways, I hope you guys get values from this video. And if you do, please press the like button, subscribe. There's going to be a lot more where that came from. And my goal is to educate and find the love, find the peace in all this chaos. So till next time, peace out.